Thank you. Today, Metro leaders are set to unveil what they're calling concrete steps to reduce gun violence.
It comes after 4 people were killed and 5 others hurt in a string of shootings over the weekend. Jim Stratman is joining us in the studio with some of the details here. Jim, we just got word of the latest shooting overnight, actually.
Yeah, happening around 2:30 over in the Portland neighborhood. LMPD saying that it happened at 21st and Duncan. This making 6 shootings this weekend, which you can all see behind me. Really kind of below I-64 plus over kind of around the Watterson and inside the Watterson. Those are the areas where we've seen these concentrated at. Now, the first shooting itself was actually in the downtown area, really in the heart of downtown. Police called to 4th Street around 7 o'clock Saturday morning. That shooting left 1 man dead and 1 woman hurt. Now, around that same time, police say a woman was killed and a man was left with serious injuries at a shooting at an apartment complex in the Bon Air neighborhood. Later that day, police were back in that same neighborhood on reports of a man shot in the chest. He is expected to survive. Fast forward to around 9 Saturday night when another pair of shooting victims were found near Houston Quinn Park in the Wilder Park area. 1 person died in that shooting and another was taken to the hospital. Then early on Sunday morning, a man was shot and killed along Bardstown Road in the Highlands outside of Cafe 360. Police haven't released any suspect information in that case, but did say that they are interviewing witnesses. The violence putting people in different parts of the city on edge.
I always worry about, being at the wrong place at the wrong time, things like that. So it does make you second guess before you go someplace.
Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg shared a statement with us in response to all of these shootings, saying in part, quote, "Every loss of life is a tragedy and the acts of violence this weekend are unacceptable. We are working with urgency to try to make our city safer." He also mentioned legislation that is working its way through Frankfort that would require a waiting period after purchase before you can actually have your firearm in hand, and more funding for police as well. The LMPD is asking that if you have any information, you can go ahead and call 574 LMPD to share that with investigators. Of course, you can also use the online portal. We also spoke with the Metro Council member who oversees some of the areas where these shootings took place. We're going to have more from him coming up here in the next half hour. Eric, Grace.
Jim, thank you. This morning, plans to repair the 2nd Street Bridge are in the works after Friday's multi-car crash left a semi dangling over the edge for hours. It happened Friday just after noon. We watched in real time as Louisville firefighters rescued the truck driver. Less than 24 hours later, Saturday night, the Transportation Cabinet opened the bridge back up.
They've looked at it above and below the roadway deck. They've examined the structural steel, the damaged sidewalk, and all the connecting supporting structure there. The assessment confirms that the bridge is safe for vehicular travel.
Your screen now, you can see this is the damage to the sidewalk. KYTC says it's putting together an emergency maintenance project to address that, as well as the damaged hand railing.
6 minutes after the hour now, today we expect to learn more about firefighter Bryce Carden. He, of course, is the one who strapped into a harness and rappelled off the side of the 2nd Street Bridge to save the semi-driver who was trapped in her truck. The department's fire chief is set to speak on that daring rescue today on Good Morning America.
And I tell you, I just could not be more proud. Standing up there on the bridge, watching it play out, the operators on the aerial device, and as firefighter Carden mentioned, one of the other things to note is that we had boats down on the river with our dive rescue standing by. They were geared up, ready to go in a moment's notice if that truck happened to slip or if anything were to go wrong with the rope rescue. But everything worked just like clockwork, and the professionalism that they showed. They made it look easy, but they just did a tremendous job.
And you can catch Good Morning America only on WHAS11. That's airing this morning at 7 a.m. right after GMK.
A Supreme Court ruling on whether Donald Trump can be kicked off the ballot over his alleged efforts to undo the 2020 election could come down as early as today. Trump is challenging a groundbreaking decision by the Colorado Supreme Court, which ruled he's disqualified from being president again because of a post-Civil War constitutional provision. That provision is aimed at preventing those who engaged in insurrection from holding office. The High Court heard arguments less than a month ago, and on Sunday indicated they'll decide at least one of the cases before them today, but didn't say which one.
This morning, Vice President Harris is calling for an immediate temporary ceasefire in Gaza in order to release more hostages and get more aid to Palestinian civilians. Harris is set to meet today with members of Israel's war cabinet. where she's expected to push the urgency of increasing U.S. aid into Gaza by air and by sea. U.S. military cargo planes dropped food in pallets over the area Saturday. A 6-week ceasefire is currently being worked on in Egypt, though Israel is not attending those negotiations. According to Israeli media, the country is demanding Hamas turn over a full list of living hostages before any ceasefire deal moves forward.
The Kentucky Court of Appeals has rejected a lawsuit brought by Governor Andy Beshear after House Bill 334 passed back in 2022. The measure removes current members of the Executive Branch Ethics Commission and shifts the majority of appointments to other state officers. The governor filed suit against all of Kentucky's constitutional officers. In a statement, Attorney General Russell Coleman said this ruling, quote, makes sure the Executive Branch Ethics Commission lives up to its name. The governor's attempt to pack the commission was the type of plain politics that he claims to rise above. Meanwhile, Governor Beshear's team called the ruling dangerous, saying in part it allows the General Assembly to strip the governor of his authority and give it to others who don't have that same constitutional duty to uphold our laws. We will be asking the Kentucky Supreme Court to hear the case.